Welcome to the 1976 Spruce Meadows Masters, and this afternoon we'll be featuring highlights of the...
And he got in bad trouble there. He lost his stirrups.
Whoa! Well, problems in the triple combination.
91, Ian Miller, and Big Ben, international champion.
Canadian Pacific has had a rich and storied partnership with Spruce Meadows as one of its founding corporate partners, dating back nearly 4 decades. In 2014, CP rekindles the relationship with Spruce Meadows. And today, we bring you the inaugural CP Grand Prix from the Spruce Meadows Continental. Are you ready?
I hope so, Ian. This is going to be really exciting.
An historic day at Spruce Meadows in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, as it welcomes back one of the iconic brands of Canadian business, Canadian Pacific, for the CP Grand Prix. Hello and welcome to Spruce Meadows. I'm Ian Allison, joined as always by John Garner. The Meadows on the green await some of the best horse rider combinations in the world. I think we're in for a real treat.
We are in for a real treat, Ian. I mean, we have seen some of the best jump-offs in the history of the sport, quite frankly, as far as I'm concerned, on this ring. It's a very different ring, of course, than the international ring, nowhere near as big, different shape. It's got that bowl-like feeling, and quite frankly, I think it's one of the most beautiful arenas in the world. Some
of the best horse rider combinations in the world here today, looking to take on the test as authored by Anthony D'Ambrosio.
And he set up a test, Ian. There's no question. It's what you expect from Anthony. You know, there's little bits and pieces here, there, and everywhere. Some things when you walk in lines, you're second guessing yourself all the time. The time allowed, as always, will be a factor. How much of a factor, of course, we're not going to know till the first couple of 3 horses have gone. But interestingly, I got to walk the course with your old pal Miller earlier on, and he's always got, you know, something that you don't necessarily see on the surface. He was talking about the time allowed, some areas that maybe you can take advantage of it, and certainly areas that you've got to be cautious of. But his partner or his ending line to me was, John, he said, I like jump number 1. I can tolerate jump number 2, but from there on, it presents a challenge.
Well, no one will study this track more than Ian Miller will, and he leads quite an impressive Canadian charge. They're as deep as we've seen in many years.
Well, the strength of Canadian show jumping, quite frankly, is come on in leaps and bounds over over the last sort of decade or so, and I think you can easily point to Eric Lamaze's gold medal and the silver medal for the team in Beijing as really that catalyst of this launching pad. And you know, one of the up-and-coming riders that we're going to see here today is Tiffany Foster.
She's a classic example of not judging a book by its cover.
Well, no question. I mean, she's come on, started in BC as a young rider. I mean, some horrific surgeries over the years. And the interesting thing for me is, she was the star on the rise going to London, and everybody was really pulling for her, and then tragedy. She couldn't get to jump in London, unfortunately, and I think a lot of people expected her to just dive, like disappear. She didn't have the stomach for it. Well, that is clearly not the case. She is as tough as anybody out there, and watch out for her.
Tiffany Foster, one of the rising stars of Canadian and international show jumping.
The first time I won a Victor in 2011, it was like a huge moment for me, and I think that that's probably something that, no matter what, for me will go down as one of the highlights of my riding career.
Did I win? Oh my God! Oh my God!
To Canada's Tiffany Foster, ladies and gentlemen.
The most that came out of those experiences, you know, I had kind of a bad Olympics and then a really rocky Nations Cup, is how supportive the team was. Everybody was so nice, so behind you 100%, and that honestly I think is the thing that I took away as a positive note. I know that they've got my back and that they're going to be there for me no matter what, so I think that goes a long way. Eric, yeah, I mean, I guess you could say he's kind of meant everything for me, really. I don't think you could have anybody more supportive or more feeling like they have your back than if you have Eric in your corner. He always pushes you hard, and I think that with the record of riders that he's produced and helped along, I think that he obviously knows what he's doing. So sometimes, even when I don't necessarily agree with him, I usually try to do what he says, because I figure in the end of the day, he does know what he's talking about. I've had a lot of amazing horses. I've been super lucky with some really great ones. I think Southwind has been a really good partner. I know no matter what happens, he's there and he'll be fine, and I can jump any class I want. And Victor obviously has been great and has sort of taught me how to develop a horse and also how to go fast on a horse. Hopefully now with Triple X I'll be able to have the same amount of confidence I have with my other horses. We really had heard that he was, you know, a lot of stallion and a little bit difficult and things, and I think he was when he was younger, but he's mellowed out a lot. Verdi that I have now, he's really made it that I feel like I can jump any class in the world because I've jumped some big classes with him now, and he's always there and always with me 100%, so that's a really good feeling. He's a really kind and very sweet horse. He's a little bit on the sensitive side, but I kind of like horses like that, and he's really cool. When you know you have amazing horses and you have a great team behind you, I don't get real nervous. I feel pretty good about it.
Tiffany Foster, surely to be one of the crowd favorites here at Spruce Meadows today. Through the course of the Spruce Meadows Summer Series, we have heard the anthems of Ireland, Mexico, Egypt, the United States, Canada. Who's going to win this thing?
Well, any one of them's got a chance here, quite frankly. Again, you know, we say it every major Grand Prix here. I think it's a pretty open field. Eric Lamaze on power play. I mean, they haven't quite shown that killer instinct they had in Europe a little bit earlier in the year. The Irish, of course, expect them to be on song. One guy I think who's really smart, and he is Kent Farrington from the United States. He's in late in the order of go. He had basically an earlier Grand Prix handed to him, and he gave it away. He had the triple bar down in the jump off, which he should have just eaten up. He should have cantered away with that, and he didn't. He's still angry about it. He's still fuming, and I think there's a man on a mission.
He knows what it takes to win in the Meadows on the Green at Spruce Meadows. He's tasted victory before on Grand Prix Day. Will he be the first winner of the CP Grand Prix from Spruce Meadows? We are running off in the Meadows on the Green right now with first round action. It's not so easy.
It is not easy at all, Ian, and as you'd expect with a CSIO 5-star Grand Prix, it is a major test.
A lot have surrendered, but certainly this man has not. Jan Candel indeed enjoying a new ride and the first clear of the competition after 18 starters.
Well, it's great to see Jan really starting to get to know Showgirl. They ended up last season with her. They're coming along and starting to show that promise. And then you can see that first clear round, only clear round at this point, Jan Candel from Canada.
There you get to see the remainder of the field still to come in the first round of competition. Those going clear and joining Jan Candel will return for the jump off. I don't suspect there'll be many.
No, I think the you know, Anthony D'Ambrosio, when we talked to him earlier, he was in that 5 to 6 range he was anticipating from the field. They always wonder which of the 5 to 6 that you'll get.
Bart Demoski taking the Cavaliers salute in the center of the Meadows on the Green from each of our athletes today. Terrific international field here at Spruce Meadows for the Summer Series, and no one has enjoyed more consistent success than Derek Kenny. He's underway.
Yeah, he's really been on song the early part of the tour, opting to go with Imhotep today, the young stallion.
He has a great stable of horses, many different types, but they all give him their all, and they all like to work for him. Tough at the water there.
Almost over-rotated a little bit. He worked really hard, flung his back end in the air. Wonder if that almost brought the front end down a bit too steep. A of the triple combination, 7A coming down. That's been a troublesome spot. Actually, every single fence on course so far has had its issues as we make the right-handed turn to the CP planks. And then on to a double combination. Liverpool tray coming in. 2 strides, oxer coming out.
A little bit of an antic from Imhotep as they prepare for the final line here in the Meadows on the Green. Time should not be a problem. 83 seconds the time allowed.
I think the time allowed is absolutely bang on, Ian. You can get it with a nice, comfortable canter. And you see there, right on it, but he wasn't chasing around, so that'll tell the riders coming afterwards that, you know, you don't have to overly hurry. Let's have a look here. Gets a long way up. Look at that back end. See how it flicks up? I say, I'm not so sure that just didn't dive him down a little bit too early. And just a green error coming in there. Young horse seeing that forest of rails, not quite focusing in.
Getting a little top heavy at the water jump, it seems, and incurring the first of 4 faults is the 11-year-old stallion ridden by Dara Kenny. So we remain with just 1 clear round here at Spruce Meadows as we continue on through the order of the go. Great surprise early in the season in the first Grand Prix of the Spruce Meadows International calendar was posted by this man, Enrique Gonzalez. Is it in the cards again? We finished in 3rd position in our season opener. New ring, new course designer.
Good ride. It's tough when you come out of that corner over the Beijing wall there, as you can land a little bit dead and a little bit flat, and you got to boost the horse up to go get the water jump and then organize for that big wide oxer coming back. And so far Enrique is managing Calebo very well. Bit of a cooler day today, in it's a little more fresh.
Fortunately, most of the fans here at Spruce Meadows are enjoying the sport from the indoor comforts of the facilities around the meadows on the green, but I noticed a few on the north side braving the cooler conditions. The rains have held off, though.
Yeah. Well, like Enrique maybe just got in there a little bit big over the Liverpool, pushed the rail out at B with a little tap there.
Just the 1 rail on course. Good pace around for the veteran from Mexico. Enrique Gonzalez pulls a rail for 4 faults.
Let's have a look here. Oh, actually, my mistake. He got A, not B.
He's got to be very happy with the way this 10-year-old's coming along. Certainly on paper looks to be a good one. Sired by For Pleasure, as we get a look at the second of the Irish to be included in our coverage today. Shane Sweetnam looking to pick up the canter here in the meadows on the green aboard Aragast. 10-year-old Belgium warm blood gelding with Shane Sweetnam. We have noticed that the Anthony D'Ambrosio course really is fair throughout. You can't take a rest, there's no gifts, and you have to have complete and precise riding throughout the course, starting with the water.
I'm not sure that makes it fair.
Well, it goes to Miller's point.
No, it's you know, you have to be on. There is right from that first jump. I mean, okay, Miller said it's a nice jump as the Beijing wall comes down at 4. But you have to be on it all the way around.
He's also done a great job utilizing the Spruce Meadows Championship collection that we often speak of. Case in point, the Beijing Oxer with the Dragons from the Olympiad of 2008.
This is an interesting horse, Aragast. He jumps a lot of clear rounds, a lot of positive results for Shane, but he would not be the easiest horse to ride. He can get very hot. And Shane will often say, if I don't have to hurry the first part of the course, I'm usually okay, but if I've got to get on it right away, he can get a little bit tough to handle towards the end. But he settled in quite nicely, even though he had that early brick.
Stretching out over the locomotive Oxer, in under the time allowed. They all seem to have a very accurate mental clock ticking today, all coming in around 82 seconds. But he'd love to have that early brick back.
Let's have a look here. He just caught it with a toe moving forward. Those bricks, they do slide out of there quite easily.
It is a very, very sensitive wall, as walls go, and complicated to put together if it comes down. It's a nasty puzzle. Let's see if this man can leave all the bricks in the wall and force a jump off here at Spruce Meadows, as he has done so many times in his career. Two-time Olympic team gold medalist from the United States, McLean Ward, today with Rothschild.
By modern day standards, this would be a smaller horse for this level of jumping. He's just a little fella, Rothschild, but he's got all sorts of spring in him.
And blood.
When I find what's so interesting when I always like to have a look at the bridles and see what people are riding in and their setup. I mean, McLean is, he's got like a rubber snaffle in him. He's got nothing on the horse's nose, really, other than just a straight nose band. And have a look as he comes around the corner. No spurs at all. This horse is very sensitive. But what that allows McLean to do is keep that leg tight so he can keep the pressure moving forward. You see some people when they ride in hotter horses, they'll take their leg off, and that can prove fatal at these wider oxes.
He is such a talented and equitation-based rider that he gets it done with minimalist approach to tack here. Are we on to our second clear round? Yes, we are. McLean Ward takes the red, white, and blue into the jump off, joining Jan Kandel of Canada. So 2 clears at Spruce Meadows in the CP Grand Prix.
Look at that time allowed, Ian. Like, he was very quick, fully 5 seconds inside. Got a couple of healthy taps here and there. A real nice partnership with Ward and Rothschild. They know each other very well. And a nice clear round.
He will set off to prepare back of house for the jump off still to come here at Spruce Meadows. And will he be jumping off against this man, 2008 Olympic gold medalist, Eric Lamaze? Interesting, the backdrop for this ring is the life-size bronze of the famous Hickstead, who carried Eric to so many victories, including on this ring. And today it's power play. There's Hickstead looking on in the background. 1 year together, and they have showed that they have the right ingredients to play at the top of the sport. Eric with a major Grand Prix win in France earlier this year with power play, and a couple of wins already this year at Spruce Meadows in FEI competition.
I just love this horse's approach to the job, Ian. I mean, he's just so even-keeled, considering how inexperienced he is still at this big level, this top end of the sport. But look how quiet he just goes about doing it. He lands, he goes in his gallop. Straight on the bridle, straight on the leg for Eric as soon as he lands. Into the bridle around the turn. Eric doesn't have to fight with him. Now this is all the training you do at home to get to this point. Again, another simple snaffle. I'd love to see that.
Well, as Eric was telling us earlier this week, he's at a stage now where he's starting to ask no power play better and ask him to do that last bit of this sport that's so important at the championship level. The speed, leaving out strides, that type of thing.
Well,
and there you have it.
We're going to get to find out in the jump off.
Another quick trip around this course. So first McLean Ward, now Eric Lamaze, advancing to the jump off with Jan Kandel.
He jumped in nicely, but the power he exerted coming out over the middle element, over the oxer. I mean, this is an intelligent horse. A little bit of a tap coming out of B, but he really knows when to use all of his power.
Three have advanced to the jump off at Spruce Meadows. Next into the ring is the reigning Pan American Games champion. 2015, those games will be held in Toronto. Christine Mcrae of the United States jumped to gold in Guadalajara, Mexico, and in doing so qualified the United States for the Olympic Games. She is underway with her gold medal partner, Romantovich. Take one.
Yeah, I mean, imagine that, how without that win, the defending gold medalist would not have been there. That would have been something. Anyway, she got it done. A great rider. And this is a lovely partnership as well. They know each other so well. She's had him a while now. Different technique, different style of Romantovic. He has that shorter, choppier stride. He's quicker across the ground. But he jumps a little bit flat through the back. He's heading his neck stay up as opposed to arcing down. But he's very efficient and very tidy with his legs.
4 years longer in the tooth than power play. A lot more experience, and has been inextricably linked to Christine Mcrae through his international career.
That's where that experience comes in. You power out over those wide oxers, gallop down, and then you just hold them together for the skinny. Out over that Rolex jump, and then again you've got to keep him back here and then land and go.
There have been no issues to date, and she keeps a clean scorecard. 3 clears in a row.
Yeah, coming thick and fast now.
Emphasis on the fast, which sets up for the jump off. If you look at how they've been getting around in and around 80 seconds now, a couple seconds faster than the early goers.
You just have to watch a little bit. Seen a couple of people do this in from the Athens coins where they just go to settle up and steady back for the final jump, the CP oxer. The horses can shorten their stride a little too much, and that oxer gets very wide. You get a little bit off the base, and it's a long way to that back rail.
The Irish have been strong all summer here at Spruce Meadows, but have yet to put a player into the jump off. Let's see if Richie Maloney can get it done here. Slievenora, the 12-year-old Irish sport horse, is in the ring with Richie Maloney.
Slievenora, Richie's go-to horse on the big day. Lovely type, lovely model of a horse. Have to work a little bit around that corner.
Ooh, chasing hard at the water.
Oh, you got it done.
They sorted it out, didn't they?
Well, his line got all over the place, didn't it? Coming off the Beijing wall there.
Irish were able to defend their Furussia Nations Cup win here at Spruce Meadows earlier this summer, and have shown that they are deep in quality stock. Not only the likes of Richie, but also Shane Sweetnam, Derek Kenny, of course Connor Swale into the combination.
Nicely done. Looks like he's got settled down now. Just 3 jumps to go to put the Irish flag into the jump-off mix.
Into the Athens coins.
Oh, he stayed up.
Light rub there. Oh! Did not think that was an oxer, or didn't ride it like it.
Well, I mean, a little bit just what I was talking about, Ian, is that he jumped the upright, but then the horse landed and really backed off. And it's a little bit of a flat distance on the 4 strides. And Richie was just never anywhere close to it.
The horse tried, but could not cover that massive final oxer, and that results in 4 faults and no jump off for Team Ireland as we continue the CP Grand Prix. And for the second time today in this program, now with her horse, we see Tiffany Foster. Verdi is the mount today. She went through her whole stable in our pregame show. She loves each and every one of them and has confidence in each and every one of them, but this is her go-to horse for the moment until she gets a little bit more chemistry with Triple X, I'm sure.
I think that's exactly it, Ian. She knows Verdi very well. I mean, he's got all the tools you need for this job anyway. Triple X, though, has the potential to be an absolute superstar.
This is a good horse for both indoor and outdoor. We saw it last year in the Nations Cup, and then we saw it in Geneva later in the season, carrying Tiffany to very strong results.
Well, he's so experienced, and I think what Tiffany was talking about. It's just his mental makeup. He's so easygoing. I mean, he's a little sensitive, which means you don't have to override him, overpower him. Which, if you think of his previous rider, Pio Schwitzer, was an interesting match. You see, he's as strong as they come in the saddle. But he's really settled into this job. Just how much more confident she is now riding at this level. She attacks the course.
Will there be a third Canadian in the jump off? Oh, that was close, Tiffany, at Spruce Meadows, covering the oxer in just under the time allowed. That was cutting it a bit close, less than 0.2 of a second, but a clear performance for Tiffany Foster, and Verdi puts 3 Canadians into the jump off here at Spruce Meadows.
Well, a little bit tappy in places, but again, you have your faith in your horse that with its experience will refocus. Let's have a look here. That one rolled the Rolex. And she got very lucky, quite frankly, at the Athens coins, but his long stride really helped out coming home for the last jump.
So Tiffany Foster joins the ranks of the jump off. Included in those ranks, Eric Lamaze in power play, who in 1999 at the Spruce Meadows National provided us all with a memorable Rolex moment in time. In June of 1999, before a huge crowd at the Spruce Meadows National, Canada's Eric Lamaze found himself in a jump-off showdown in the Canadian Pacific World Cup. Then, riding Kahlua, he jumped a double clear to take the lead. The rains had been falling steadily all week, making the going a little bit heavy in the international ring. Now it was time for Lamaze to sit and wait. Enter Björn Nagel of Germany, an up-and-coming star on the German show jumping scene, riding silver. He powered his way around the course to a perfect performance in a time fast enough to beat Lamaze and lay claim to the Canadian Pacific World Cup. His victory at Spruce Meadows caught the attention of the German team, and he was promptly named to his First Nations Cup team that year. Hoist the Canadian Pacific World Cup from the podium. Ladies and gentlemen, the newly crowned champion, the 21-year-old phenom from Germany, Björn Nagel. From the 21-year-old phenom to the great veteran from the United States, Richard Spooner comes into the ring. Richard Spooner, who has found himself in many jump-offs, delivers the Cavaliers salute and will now prepare to see if he can join the ranks of the clear rounds here at Spruce Meadows. We've seen him do it many times before on the gray horse, but that was either Bradford or Robinson. Will it be Chivas? Former ride of Ashley Bonds.
Well, Richard had a great 1-2 result earlier this week at the Continental Tournament with Cristallo and Chivas, so he's getting back his form, Ian, that I think both of us noticed. He was just a little behind earlier on in the summer tour as he makes his way back to Spruce Meadows after a couple of years away, and he was well into the water.
Well, I noticed he was a little bit internally conflicted trying to make the decision following that 1-2 decision on which horse to take. He went with Chivas, and he's now carrying 12 faults here in the Meadows on the green.
Well, when you have a couple of horses to choose from, I mean, sometimes you do find yourself betwixt and between, trying to make that decision. I mean, this is typical Spooner luck. He lost his reins through the triple combination there when he was having difficulty. I mean, instead of panicking about getting everything back organized, he just carries away, tries to keep it even.
Time should not be a problem, but the water and 2 rails certainly will be. So Richard Spooner and Chivas. I wonder if he'll be having second thoughts on whether Cristallo might have been the mount for the day. There's plenty of jumping left for both those horses at Spruce Meadows this season.
Let's have a look here. He just fought him a little bit coming in and then lost his takeoff spot, or at least his ideal takeoff spot, then really had to fight for the oxer, which then compounded itself through the vertical coming out.
Well, for those that are in the jump off, they'll have a little less to deal with, knowing that Richard Spooner's not coming in late and fast. Daniel Blumen, you speak of young phenoms. Having met Bjorn Nagel during our moment in time, this is such a rider. Youngster in his early 20s from Colombia, already has 1 Olympic Games under his belt and has been taken, if you will, under the wing of Eric Lamaze and rides with him and seeks advice from him. He is underway now, is the young Colombian aboard Concerto.
This is a lovely mare. Sanchez, this is his Olympic mount, of course. As that rail comes down, or wall comes down, excuse me. You just catch that wrong, and especially going forward, they just flip out of there, those blocks.
She is really one of those raw power mares, isn't she? When you watch this horse compete, she has a real presence about her. She can play with the big boys.
And as quick as you like in the jump off. I mean, we won't get to see that today. She does tick a lot of the boxes that you need for an international horse. Tough when you're sitting on 4 faults so early. Keep your concentration, try and keep it down to that. You know, especially when you know there's only 5 clear rounds at this point. If you can be quick, you'll get a decent paycheck at the end of this. $210,000 is going to be split between all the prize winners.
Daniel Blumen had visions of being a little bit higher up the payout window for the prize winners today. Saved the toe at the wall. Pretty good round.
Let's have a look here. Just coming across it a little bit, and she just nudged it on the way up. And let's have a look here. Again, he steadies right after that upright just to get it back together. You see how long that distance then becomes.
Ian Miller, deep in the order here at Spruce Meadows. The great veteran aboard Star Power, the horse that he rode in his 10th Olympic Games in London. And now looking to start a new era at the CP Grand Prix here in winning fashion. The ageless one, Ian Miller of Canada, with Star Power.
Think about it, Ian. I mean, what you were just saying, like Ian's 10th Olympics at London, and we're already halfway through that next Olympic cycle. I mean, you know, you get to the Olympic Games and you see Miller named to the team and you go, well, surely to goodness this is it. But I mean, he shows no signs of letting up at all. He's already earmarking his Rio horse.
I recall thinking about that prior to Atlanta in '96.
Incredible.
And when you think his Olympic career started with the Munich Games in '72, missed the games because of the Western boycott of the 1980 Games in Moscow, and he still has 10 to his credit.
Incredible. Had a look at him as he came over the dragon pillars there. That he was just having a look at the scoreboard, just confirming that the rail did come down, which it did. That's 7A.
He's carrying good pace on Star Power. Dutch warm blood gelding. Very quick trip around this course, 80.07 seconds, but he will be out of the jump off, not contending by virtue of his 4 faults.
Well, this line has caused problems all day long. Star Power, a little bit of a rub in front, and then he finished it off behind for good measure. Never got the lift up through the wither and the shoulder to get the front legs up and over.
Well, here's the man you said has been a bit snake-bitten. He's hungry for victory at Spruce Meadows, currently ranked number 5 in the world. And he is looking to take Voyeur to his first win at Spruce Meadows this season. Kent Farrington, the United States, with the 12-year-old Dutch gelding Voyeur.
Well, we were chatting after the first major of the season, Ian, and just in a very casual manner, and he was ticked. He was really unhappy with him and with himself. But he really felt that if he'd gone and pressed for the victory, there would have been no problems, but he eased up a little bit in his mind. Got the wrong distance to really a free jump in a triple bar, and it cost him. So he will be fighting hard today to set that right. So far, so good. Voyeur's a lovely type, skipping around, starting to get some experience now at the bigger level.
For those people that think you just sit on these horses and run them at fences and jump them, Kent's a good classic study to watch. You can see how much strength's required in his arms, his legs to keep the horse balanced. All of the anaerobic activity when you're trying to harness 1,200 pounds.
Well, and then the mental game that goes with it too. I mean, you're constantly trying not to second guess your plan.
Well, he was certainly fast enough. He'd like that one line back where he incurred 4 jumping faults. So victory denied again to Kent Farrington.
Well, he's not going to be any the happier now, because I think, again, in my mind, he jumped in okay, and then maybe felt Voyeur was going to carry him a little more to the back rail. He didn't really press him as he came off the ground. He was a long way off that back rail.
Final entry in the first round of competition. This is Tic Tac. Leslie Howard of the United States, another of the great American entry here at Spruce Meadows for the 2014 season. And she has had a career not unlike Ian Miller's, not quite as long, but nonetheless very, very impressive. Beginning with the Los Angeles Games and continuing at the top of the sport now. And with Tic Tac, she believes she's sitting on the best horse she's ever had. And that's saying something when you factor her 2 Olympic medals and World Cup titles into things, in addition to her Spruce Meadows resume.
Well, exactly. And, you know, interesting similarity, quite frankly, with Eric Lamaze and Power Play. She got Tic Tac, new horse last year. And again, how quickly... Whoa!
That didn't go well.
Well, I was going to say how quickly they've got themselves organized and starting to show as a partnership. Look at that. I'd have been inclined to turn a circle there, quite frankly. Not Leslie. She picks up the reins and carries on. Wow.
Well, an excellent recovery after near disaster. And our viewers should know that Leslie did have to move down in the order because Tic Tac twisted a shoe at the hitching ring just prior to coming in, so that would have disrupted their preparation a little bit as well, as the farriers had to go to work. They seem to have settled in a little bit now, looking a lot better now than in early on in the course.
You just see he's resisting a little bit through the turn when the head and nose comes up like that.
He does like to drag her to the fences, doesn't he?
Wow.
Leslie Howard and Tic Tac, that's a nice 4-fault performance.
Hard to believe, isn't it? And, you know, 2+ seconds inside the time allowed. Let's see what happened. Yeah. Well, she landed over the water, and then I think she really didn't want to go gallop on, so as she settled him back, tried to add the stride, he was resisting, and, you know, that does happen, that miscommunication. She wanted the extra step, he was having no part of it, and they ran out of room.
The Meadows on the Green prepares for the jump off at Spruce Meadows in the CP Grand Prix. We'll be back with all the action right after this. 35 horse rider combinations started today's CP Grand Prix. Only 5 could solve all of the questions, and for many it was a character building day. But what a group we have returning to the jump off, and it'll be led off by Jan Candel over this course, riding Showgirl.
That was quite the fancy looking jump off board there, wasn't it? Canada, US, Canada, US, Canada. Nice symmetry about that. Like you say, Jan is going to start off. Be an interesting test for Jan here. He's, I think, still getting to know Showgirl, the finer points of her. She's scopy enough. She wouldn't strike me as necessarily the quickest horse in this group, but Jan is a very aggressive rider by nature. But he will be mindful that he can put down a clear round. He may just force some of those fellas coming behind him to make a mistake.
And the ladies.
Oh, it's more of a generic fellas term, but yeah, okay.
Showgirl's a bold mare who was formerly ridden by Canadian Olympian Jonathan Aslan. Candel got the mount just this year, and they have immediately struck up a very good chemistry.
That was a nice turn there. Now you can gallop all the way home.
And he does so. Now, not the fastest of times, but a double clear round, 45.76 seconds. And that will make Jan Candel a happy man.
Well, I have to say, Ian, I think job one done. He's posted the clear round. He wasn't pedestrian out there. They're going to have to go a little bit. Is it beatable? Of course, for sure it is. But you are going to have to press a little bit.
So the waiting game commences now for the first of 3 Canadians. And there are some pretty strong Americans to challenge them, led by this man, McLean Ward of the United States, 2-time Olympic team gold medalist. And he's got Rothschild under saddle today. 13-year-old gelding, great experience between the two of them.
I think that's the key point, Ian. We just talked about Jan getting to know Showgirl. There is nothing that McLean Ward doesn't know about Rothschild, and vice versa. You can see how swift and efficient they were across the middle portion there. And that's where this horse excels. You just drop him into the base of a tall upright like that, and he springs up. He's so athletic.
Give him a chance here. And he does now down the final line. Time looks pretty good for McLean Ward. Indeed, wow. It looks excellent. A full 2 seconds faster. 43.29 seconds to take the lead at Spruce Meadows in the CP Grand Prix. McLean Ward of the United States.
Well, that's championship riding to me, Ian. He no doubt had an idea of what he had to do watching Jan Candel go. Like 1.5 maybe straight strides at that meter 60 upright. Big smile on McLean Ward's face, and rightly so.
He is happy with the effort put forward by Rothschild and the ride he was given. Now, let's see if Eric Lamaze can ask power play the same. Just 1 year together, and you have just seen a masterful trip around this course by McLean Ward.
This could be really exciting.
This could be exciting. They face each other around the world. He's not taking any slow route here. Whoa.
Yay! Whoa. He's flying there now.
Footing holding up. Did he get over? Got him too deep.
Yep. Ran out of room there.
So he eases up a little on the throttle here now, knowing he's had the rail, wants to keep this horse confident.
Well, you wonder if he had to do it again, would he come in quite that tight?
He certainly had the time, because he was going quite modestly on the second half after he had that plank down. He still was pretty tight with McLean
How
Ward.
fast he came through the middle. But he just had no chance there. I mean, but you know what? That's what you do here, Ian. You go in and you put your horse in front of it. And sometimes they come up with an amazing effort. Just a little lack of room there for power play.
An exciting final trip around the course for power play and Eric Lamaze, which takes us to Christine Mcrae. Now, she's got to be fast. We know she can be fast. Romantovich, take one, comes into the ring. 14 years of age, reigning Pan American gold medal combination. And they are carrying pace from the start here.
Again, I expect these guys to be on it. This is a quick horse. And again, talk about experience as a partnership. But just there on the way to the CP Oxer, she took a couple of little pulls. Just steadied him a little bit.
Down they come again. The CP planks.
You got to nail that one absolutely perfectly.
It's where the speed component is coming into play. We didn't see them come down that much in the first round of competition, right. And now they're picking up the pace a little bit more, getting a little deeper, and she will finish up with 4 faults in a quick running time. But McLean Ward only has one left that can take him. Canada's Tiffany Foster still to come.
Well, again, she came around the corner and steadied a little bit. Just not quite enough. Needed a little bit more room there. Maybe a stride less, to be honest, around the turn. Got a bit more of a gap. Anyway, last one to go, Tiffany Foster and Verdi.
Final entry in the CP Grand Prix. The United States leads the way. The final of 3 Canadians that qualified. Let's see if they can come in at or around 43 seconds.
Well, the length of stride of this horse will help. It really covers the grass.
She can't check up here. Doesn't matter now as the Chinese Dragons come down. A little slip there for Verdi, and that's a safe play there, Tiffany.
Well, I think she's lost a shoe in. Just having a look at the right front. I don't see any shiny metal underneath that.
That'll make it a little greasy out there, so. And I think Tiffany senses now. You can feel it underneath you.
There's no question you can. There is no question. You can just have a look there, see that that right front, it's quite dark underneath, and she's definitely lost that shoe. Let's have a look here. Unfortunately, just didn't quite get the elevation in front, and that's where that slip goes. That's a smart pull there by Tiffany, just to pull him out. Live to fight another day.
Well, a difficult conclusion to a very exciting jump off here at Spruce Meadows as Tiffany Foster throws a shoe aboard Verdi, and thus Rothschild and McLean Ward lay claim to the CP Grand Prix.
Well, with only one clear round in the books when McLean Ward came through the in-gate, he set about the Anthony D'Ambrosio design course with Rothschild with a vengeance. A couple of light taps here and there, but there was going to be no denying McLean Ward as he punched his ticket into the 5-horse jump-off. Canada and the United States going head-to-head. Candell again led off with a clear round, but it was the athleticism and speed of Rothschild and the piloting of McLean Ward that would win out. Double clear, and they would not be caught. Great performance from the native of Brewster, New York, and here is the final leaderboard. McLean Ward, Jan Candell, and Eric Lamaze on power play in third. Here is the champion with Ian Allison.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the winner's circle at the Spruce Meadows Continental. An exciting sport we were treated to today. One of the best in the world, 2-time Olympic gold medalist and the inaugural winner of the CP Grand Prix, McLean Ward of the United States. Spectacular jump-off win. It's never easy here, is it?
No, it seems to get harder and harder every year. Anthony built a very difficult course today. It was a great test. Rothschild's been a great partner of mine for years. Thanks to the Dolan Sweeney family for their support. This horse is my friend, and he doesn't do a picture perfect, but he gives a lot of himself, all of his heart, and it's always nice when he comes up with a big win.
It all fell into place, and you've landed in the winner's circle again. President and Chief Operating Officer of CP, Keith Creel, joining us in the winner's circle. Another great event at Spruce Meadows.
Absolutely great, great time to be back. I think last night I said this is my 9th Father's Day here, and I look forward to about 9 or 10 more. So congratulations, McLean. Great competition, great competitors, great effort, and obviously a very outstanding outcome. Congratulations.
His precision's rewarded, and we now get to present the championship check, ladies and gentlemen. There you are, $70,000 to gallop back to the United States for McLean, Ward, and Rothschild. Let's invite Keith and McLean to step forward and for the first time go into the Spruce Meadows history books by hoisting the CP Grand Prix trophy, indicative of supremacy on the final day of the Spruce Meadows Continental